Oh, hello everybody. Welcome back to the Nidd. I'm just sitting in my apartment here, and I'm relaxing on my couch, just chilling. Got a nice fireplace, and just ready to relax and just chill out. Not do too much today, I don't think. But you never know. You never know what's gonna happen. This is post Roid Grab, and as you can see, I've kind of used the team colors in here because it was reminding me of what a wonderful time we had. Oh, what's that? I kind of hear the sound. Oh, ding dong. What's this? Who's this?
Is he gonna let us in?
Oh, I can hear somebody out there. Oh, maybe I should let there's some riffraff outside my door. What's going on over here?
Ding.
Quick, run.
Oh, who are these guys? I don't want any.
The hospitality.
But
Come
if
on
I
in.
can actually get in the door. I'll go. There we go.
Welcome to
this is
Chateau Anubis.
Yep.
Humble abode.
with added fireplace.
With added fireplace, that's right.
And the new skybox makes things look nice out the window. You got a really good view.
Yeah, that kind of happened by accident.
Yeah.
This was actually part of the retrofit when I was redoing my couch here and my fireplace.
Even that massive ship down there, just built that to have it in the window.
Mm-hmm, that's right. And the ferry system, it's all just for my view.
I'm going to have a little bit of a sit down on the Chesterfield. This is
Whoop,
yeah.
I can't
So
get in.
since the Nidd is a public group, the main focus of being on the public members. The blue Niddites, as we've been calling them, I thought it'd be a good idea to sort of make our deliberations and discussions public as well. After all, they're the ones playing the game, so I thought it might be interesting for people to see our thought process when it comes to changing it. This is the Roid Grab game. I did mention that at the start, didn't I? I hope I did.
It must have been before you so rudely interrupted my sitting.
Yep. Yes, this is about the Roid Grab game, the first one. Although it was a lot of fun, it didn't go exactly as I thought it would. So I've asked for suggestions from people, as well as we've got our own ideas and opinions. So I think we're going to run through them and see what everyone thinks as to how to make it better for the next one. My first suggestion is to make sure you've had more than 4 hours sleep and haven't been up for 20 hours before playing, especially when you're recording, so that everyone can see how delirious you were. That would be my first suggestion to not do.
Although it was quite
Definitely
amusing
back
for the people watching.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. I think the major issue, though, was that there was no real incentive to leave your base until the last 15 minutes. I mean, there was a bit of an incentive to go mining, but even then, often the speed of the building meant that by the time you had to go mining, it was too late.
Yeah.
So
I found that.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I was just going to say we just need an incentive to go out earlier.
Yeah. Yeah. No, the mining was a good one. Like, I didn't realize that you needed to go to the other asteroids to get the specific ores. That was a good idea, but I think, I mean, just like you said, it just wasn't strong enough to make you want to leave that, safe zone of the base, and venture out. I mean, I think just a quick one would be to make it more, to have people stretch out of the base more, would be to have a better incentive for placing beacons on asteroids. Like, for example, just coming up with this on top of my head, maybe like getting a drop of items if you were to place a beacon on an asteroid, just as a thought.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
You mean like as a result of actually placing one, you get a reward kind of thing?
Yeah, you get a couple of supplies that will help you build a bit faster, rather than having to go and mine them all and then process them all as well.
Yes,
That's an
I've had
interesting idea.
I've had suggestions from quite a few different people, like Korodon, Cannonbow, Crawl, O2. They're the main ones that I can see here. Was to have stuff on each of the asteroids. So resources to go and get, maybe like a half-destroyed base or something that you could mine down, or a container with stuff in it. But again, that doesn't mean that you're actually capturing the asteroids, you're just visiting them. So
Right.
I think that's a good combination. If there's stuff there, but you can only get it if you claim the asteroid.
Yep. Yeah. There was another. I think it was just a suggestion that happened, or a discussion that happened at the end of the event between the players around having like a kind of like a Hunger Games style center thing, right, where there's a whole bunch of loot in the middle. But I guess this is a kind of a modification of that as well, where it's on the asteroids and you have to actually earn them as opposed to just running for them at the beginning.
How would we do that? Like, I don't know if we've got the modding ability to make it that you could actually, if you placed a beacon on the asteroid, then stuff would appear for you. So we'd probably have to make that a rule. How would we do that?
I think with a little bit of magic, sensor blocks can be used to spawn in items if it detects a certain block. But again, that would require a little bit of work.
Right.
Yeah, I know the
it is
basics
doable.
of how to do that, but I can't do that myself. So we'd have to find someone to do it.
Yeah, or maybe a team effort. Because it is all C# behind the scenes, and I do have quite a bit of knowledge of that. So maybe a fun little project to work on with like a couple of people's brains trying to figure it all out.
Yeah,
That would be pretty cool.
So then you would just have some sort of a dispenser point, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
Like on
and
the asteroid.
And you'd have predetermined items depending on what you wanted at each asteroid, how much, depending on how much how valuable, I suppose, strategically the asteroid is.
So should we put any other building on that?
I think that's actually a really good idea. I think was it Nidd or Boris that brought up the broken asteroid? Broken station on the asteroid.
You cut out a bit there. Who did you say that was?
Oh, sorry. Which other one of you suggested the half broken ship or station on the asteroid?
I don't think that was me.
I think that was Korodon.
Oh, sorry. But I thought that was actually a really good idea because it gives it a little bit more of a atmospheric feel to the game as well, and allows us to get a bit
rather
creative
than just,
with
blank asteroids.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it would be something you could go scavenge.
So add a bit of scavenging to it, and I think if we make the base asteroid pretty much worthless, so there's only pretty much iron on it, maybe, and nothing else, so you'd have to leave the base in order to get anything.
Because the only things that were not on that asteroid, right, was like magnesium and one other thing.
Nickel, I think it was.
Nickel, yeah. And magnesium is primarily just used for bullets, right?
Yeah.
I think so, yes.
We can use there's mod blocks that are unbreakable, so we could put those unbreakable ones around whatever dispenser there is, so you're not allowed to grind down that thing, but anything else is fair game.
Yeah, I think actually the way it works is the sensor block itself will just spawn it in, so even if
I've seen
you break it,
just pops in.
it won't. Yeah, so I think, that might be something to look into.
Yeah, I mean, last time around we did everything on the honor system, and that seemed to work all right for that, but for that particular event. So I mean, we could try some new rules in that method as well, right, before we do a whole bunch of work to see if it's a good idea.
Yeah. One of the other suggestions that I saw a lot, although there was a bit of a back and forward as to whether it was a good idea, was to start with some other material, like ships. To start with ships rather than have to build them. But Cannonbow didn't like that as much. He thought that the main focus of space engineers in general is mostly building. So if you take the building away, then that kind of ruins a bit of the strategy of the game. But should we be starting with any sort of ships?
Yeah, there was a few suggestions about that, right? Like with maybe just some of the basics, right? Like maybe just a mining ship or something. But like I don't think we'd want to go overboard with that.
I'd have to agree with that. I think some very, very basic ships that I suppose you could build onto as you graduate through the game.
Yeah.
That I reckon that would be a
Well,
bit
we
better
had
than
the
starting
respawn
with
ship
stuff.
last time.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and
if
it
we
wasn't
added
really.
in the default mining ship, is that too much? You know, that small mining ship from the Easy Start world?
Right. Yeah, like I mean, and it's
Yeah.
not too huge, or rather, right? It's just got 2 drills on the front. It's not like it's a beast.
Yeah. I think
Just because I'm
from
too lazy
memory-
to build one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think from memory we actually spent like a large portion of the time building a mining ship or getting a mining rig going.
Yep.
Yeah,
Which
and
did.
Yeah, our
Sorry.
team did as
Sorry.
well. We spent probably a good, at least half of the time, if not maybe, like probably a bit more than half actually, just getting our mining ship up and running.
Yeah.
could we maybe leave ships in those ruins as well to scavenge? Or
Yeah,
broken
man.
ships?
Yeah,
Yep.
maybe some like not completely destroyed, some salvageable ships. One that can be
Yeah.
either, as you said before, mined down for their resources, or they can also be converted back to working ships. So it's probably not a bad idea,
Yeah.
actually.
And since it's in multiplayer, you can't really connect on like with a landing gear to drag it back. So if there is a ship that's almost finished, you either have the option of grinding it down or securing the asteroid so you can finish it there, because you wouldn't be able to drag it back to the safety of your base. Are you happy with that rule about the base exclusion? You're not allowed to attack the other base?
I did. I thought that, like, I did like that idea. The fact that we just stayed there the entire time was a little sad, but but
Yeah.
but yeah, I think that it was like it was only for the first hour, and after that though it was only if you had all the asteroids you could. But
Yeah.
I think that it was a nice kind of, especially if we do have a lot more action going on, like if you have to leave that a lot to go get anything done, like to go get your resources, like if you're mining or if you're scavenging or if there's going to be a lot more leaving that, and it's probably a good idea to have a place where you can kind of retreat to if you need to and
a
regroup.
safe zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the original idea with it, because if your base is up for grabs at any stage, then obviously the best tactic would just be to go straight for the base, forget about the asteroids and try and destroy them.
Yeah, just take your grinders and go.
Yeah. Yeah. I wanted to stop that. I didn't want it to be too much of a death match, but more about the capturing of the asteroids.
Right. Although introducing like salvage and all that kind of stuff too will probably increase deathmatch stuff happening.
Yeah, but you'll always have a safe spot to come back to.
Yeah. If you find the killer bunny, then you just run away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought
But,
the base. Yeah,
Sorry.
I thought the base exclusion was a good addition. It also added a nice sense of mystery to it. I mean, I did a little bit of reconnaissance for the period of the game, and it was quite eerie just watching them, run in and out of the platform and not knowing what they're doing, and seeing this, behemoth of a ship in survival,
Yes,
being,
this-
mounted with cannons and stuff like that, and the Gatling turrets, and yeah, it added a nice touch to it.
And it's all from 300 meters away too, so you couldn't really make it out. Just enough to make you worried.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah,
Okay, so
the one suggestion
Sorry.
that I did get though was I think it was from Cannonbow, and this is a little bit tongue in cheek, but it does actually have a bit of meaning. Was that we should probably pick names that are a little bit more different, so that we don't confuse each other's bases and go to the wrong ones. Because I know I did that in the last episode, and a couple of I remember I think in one of your videos somebody else was
Yeah.
not sure whose base was whose.
that was me. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
I thought the TUR stood for turtle. And I started flying for the wrong
Yeah.
base.
I didn't even think of that until I saw the abbreviations afterwards, but thought it was
So
amusing.
to explain the names, our naming rules is whoever comes up with the name first, it sticks.
Yep. So in this case, it was all my fault.
Yeah, you came up with Turnip and Turtle, and that was it.
Well, yeah, and in my defense, I was when I was making the intro, I just needed to put placeholder things in there, and then I showed it to Boris, and he said, "Well, those are the names now." Like, oh crap! They were literally just supposed to be placeholder. Until we came up with awesome names.
Okay, I'll put that on the list. Better names.
Better names. Although the name of the event was perfect.
Yep. No way that's changing now. I am running out of puns. So we're going to have to call another game something equally innuendo-ish.
Agreed.
Crawl02, he suggested that we should have to start the event with raw ore. So you could pick, say, a total of 15,000 raw ore, and it's up to you what you could pick. And you could split it up, so you could go, like his example here was 3,000 iron, 3,000 cobalt, and 9,000 magnesium to start with. Does that fit in with what we've been discussing, though, with the scavenging?
Yeah, so like just starting resources that you just get?
Yeah, so you get 15,000 raw ore, and it's your team's choice to start, to divide that up to however you want it. I mean, you could start with 15,000 iron if you wanted to, or split that up.
Right.
I think it's not too bad of an idea. I think it conflicts a bit with the idea of having to go to other asteroids to get resources, though. I think that if you prioritized that 15,000 to the resources that you don't have to get from other asteroids, I think it would kind of force a bit more of turtle gameplay on a team. But other than that, I think it's not a bad idea. It would help definitely to get the teams going a lot faster. I think that's like one of the major topics that we have, or one of the major issues that we had. Our bane was time. Like, you know, by the time the 2 hours was up, we were really only just starting. So,
what if
I don't think we really want to go much longer than 2 hours either.
Yeah, no. Yeah, like, that was a good time. I think
it starts getting a bit long. Yeah,
I like the limit. The time limit was good. We just need to get the action going faster. But one thought that I just had actually after the last suggestion though was, what if we combine that with the beacon reward system? So like maybe there are on asteroids you get certain rewards for putting a beacon down. Right, maybe there's also some ships that are randomly crashed on places that you can break down and take apart, but maybe there's also just like, you know, like Super Mario Brother ? Chests randomly scattered, and you open them up and there could be ore in there, right? So maybe that's a way of finding something quickly without having to do a whole lot of work. It's like, oh look, there's a blue chest. That means it's a resource chest and it's open. I can go grab it.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking now though, how do we... because I think for scavenging, a good part of it would be sort of luck and making people look for it.
Yeah.
If I'm the one making the map, then I have the advantage of knowing where everything is. Like in that last one, I already knew the distance between all the asteroids just in my head, so I was able to tell people, well, that one's far enough. The asteroid that we chose in the end was the one that was furthest away from your base, which I just knew because I'd put it there.
That's a good point.
Which I thought was, that's a little bit of a... So we'd need someone else to either the person who makes it doesn't play, or someone else makes the map. And I don't know if we can find someone to sort of make that, unless anyone watching wants to volunteer.
Yeah, there you go. Send that out to the community. If like even maybe if we had like a skeleton of a map and then somebody went in there and just hid things, right?
Yeah. So just on the map, those asteroids, were they too close or too far apart or something like that?
They seem to be all right for distance. I think for the amount of players that we had though, there may have been a couple of too many asteroids, but again that may have just been because of the whole not much of an incentive to go outside of your base, but it just kind of felt that there was a lot of choice when it came to picking which asteroid you wanted to, embark on. But again, that may change.
Yeah, we did have a few people that didn't turn up as well.
Right.
So the teams were supposed to be two more people on each team. But yeah, we bargained for that with every event. I sort of just expect only 50% of people to turn up, and I make sure that the game still works with that number of people, just in case.
I didn't think that the distance didn't seem too far to me, and the number of asteroids seemed like a good number to me, but it was really hard to judge just because we really didn't get out there.
Yeah. So well, if we've got two teams, and last time we had 4 people, was it 4 or 5 people per team? I forget because there were people coming in and out of our team.
Yeah, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We had 5 on each team, and I think you guys were down to basically 4 though, because when you lost one, your replacement was. He had inventory trouble, right? Like he couldn't actually do anything other than fly around, maybe in the mining ship.
Yeah. So with 5 people each, maybe 1 less asteroid. Yeah, so if we have 1 fewer, and just say that 4 people per team would be the minimum for this game.
Yes. I think that's a good number.
Again, we sort of want to force a bit of action, so we don't want to have too many asteroids and people just sort of, that one's too far away, we'll just let them have it, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Which wasn't the case in this game because there was only 1 beacon, so we all went for it. No matter how far away it was.
Okay. Crawl O2 also came up with an interesting idea. I think one of the Roid Grab is the sort of game that I'd like to play again and again and again, and then just improve it a little bit each time or add something a bit different. This isn't something I think would go in every single one, but in the future it might be an idea for something different to add. He suggested adding a third party, like a mercenary, to it. So there would be one person who was neutral, didn't have a team, and their job. You could purchase them by giving them raw ore or ingots, and then they would go for the best offer.
Oh, jeez.
So they're for hire. So you would buy their services.
You'd hire a Ronin.
Yeah.
That is a very interesting suggestion.
And what do they do? They just work on your team until somebody gives them a better offer, or do they actually go out and be mischievous to the other team?
Yeah, he said, what is this? You could either decide to kill the mercenary or once again try to beat the offer. So killing the mercenary would simply end his contract, and he would have to be hired by one of the teams once more. Adding a mercenary to the mix is the kind of thing that may very well turn the tides of things throughout the event, so you'd have an extra person on your team. Might be better with 2 extra people. I don't know how useful 1 more person, but
okay. Would an idea to combine with that as well? Instead of just having the option to buy the mercenary and just have them work for you, and on your team, why not give them their own very small, weak, easy fighter ships and things like that, and have them off in the distance, limited to use only by the mercenaries? Do you think that would kind of
so they
make
would have
them a bit more valuable? Yeah,
a supply of ships out there, and then every time they die, they pick up a new ship, sort of thing.
I mean, rather than having them just as an extra gun for hire, we could give them
Yeah.
a couple of assets, and that could use those, and that could, make them a bit more valuable.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like that. Well, that would also solve the problem. The mercenary could know everything about the map if they built the map.
Yeah, that's true
So
too.
whoever builds the map could be the mercenary.
Could be the mercenary. Yeah. There needs to be a way built into that though to try and bribe them over to your side, even if you lose the initial bet. Like it should be somebody that's able to be flip-flopped between both sides constantly throughout the game. So maybe you hired him, maybe you think he's yours, and you sent him off to go do something evil to the other team, and then they give him a better offer and he comes back against you.
Yeah. Again, I don't know if this...
interesting chatter.
Yeah, I don't think this is something that we do in the next one. It's a little bit more of a sort of complex edition.
Yeah.
I think I'd like to get the base game down a bit better, but I think that's something to think about in the future. Yeah, it's just one of those random things to spice it up for a particular game.
I like it.
So visible signs. I think visible signs might be Korodon. I'm not sure. Everyone has different names on every different service. He says to start it like an RTS, so each base starts with a small number of light utility craft. I think we've already done this. Enough that each member of the team can be doing something from the start.
Yes.
Okay, so he says 1 or 2 drill mined and even like a welding ship, that sort of thing. I think I'll write it down. What do we think would be the best starting equipment? I'll write that down now so we don't have to come back to it.
Right, yeah, starting equipment. That's what we were talking about a little bit before when we said, maybe bringing in the mining ship, right? Like the one from the base game.
So, shall we say the default drilling ship as a one for each team?
How about a very lightweight sort of scout ship, so you can go around and just take a look at the asteroids and sort of gauge whether or not you want to take your investigation further, since we'll be probably adding environmental stuff to them.
So you don't have to send your mining ship out. You could actually send a little tiny guy out. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
that would have pretty much nothing on it. Just
a flying cockpit.
The very basics to fly. Yeah.
I mean, they could even be like the drones.
Yeah. Any fighting ships to start with?
I want to say no, just because I think that.
Yeah, something that you probably should build, sort of thing.
Yeah, I think that might make it like a little too easy start, I guess. But that's just my thoughts. What do you think, Zach?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would say that we should leave the fighting ships to be like upgrades of the scout ship and the mining ship if you really wanted to.
Yep.
I think leave them out of the starting ships.
Yeah.
I think it should be more utility if it's going to be anything.
Yeah, it is an engineering game, so it's the people with the best engineers should win. So if you build a good fighting ship, then it should be a big benefit for you.
Right. Yeah, like I think the one thing that I think we're trying to reduce a bit in this is just the massive amounts of resource gathering that we needed to do in the beginning, right, just to get started. So like utility ships and all of these ideas we have around just getting resources or scraps or whatever helps us just get to the point where we can then build stuff quicker, and then maybe that's enough.
If we want to try and encourage, do we want to try and encourage bigger builds? Like, I know the other team, you had a bit of a problem with lag and your guns not going off.
Yep.
I don't know if that's because the server it shouldn't have been that overloaded. I mean, just before we recorded this, we also recorded a large ship battle, which you'll be seeing in a couple of days after this, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, that one had much larger ships with a lot of explosions and guns going off and stuff like that, and it seemed to work all right, so I don't know if it was the server was overloaded that was the problem. But again, do we want to try and allow bigger builds with custom weapons and that sort of thing?
Well, I don't know if we should disallow it explicitly, but
I mean, to try and allow, like, add incentive in the same way that we've tried to add incentive to capturing asteroids. should we try and add an incentive to
Making larger
make
ships.
bigger builds?
I don't know.
Again, I suppose that would come down, if you did have to capture more asteroids, you would have to build bigger and fancier things. But I guess it comes down to what you start with. Because the easier the start, the bigger you can build.
That's true. Yeah, but I also think that might come down to strategy too, right? Like deciding to build big or to build small or to do some kind of crazy thing in between. I think that should be up to the team to decide what they want to do. And if say one team decides to go big and the other team decides to go small, then it'd be kind of an interesting to see which one comes out on top, or if they both go big or whatever. I don't know if we want to encourage one or the other.
Yeah, so I suppose we just start with what we were talking about and then see what happens. If we need to change it again, we can.
Yeah, oh yeah, we'll keep doing this, I'm sure. I mean, it's just my opinion, obviously. I'm sure lots of people disagree with me.
Another thing that possibly Korodon, but definitely visible signs, whoever this guy is, his suggestion was to visually mark the base exclusion zone with small but visible like lights or beacons. I don't want to increase like the beacon spam, I suppose, but to sort of just dot them around in a sphere around the asteroid so that there was a bit more of a... Because I noticed I a few times flew too close to the other base, just accidentally.
Right.
Is that something worth doing? You can make it out of the indestructible blocks as well, but again, you might accidentally run into them.
Right. Is it...
If you run into an indestructible block, you will lose.
You will lose, yeah. Is that something that might cause more lag in the game too? I'm wondering, like with lights or with...
Yeah, lights aren't that useful because it looks smaller when you're like just watch the video and that sort of thing. It looks like a smaller map than it actually is. And those asteroids look small at a distance. They're small asteroids, but they're big ones. They're all big asteroids. They're just a long way away. And lights, you can't really see. I think that it's a couple of 100 meters or something before the lights disappear. They go at a render distance. So most of the time we wouldn't actually see a light. So I don't know if we'd be using lights to mark that. But highly visible, like colored blocks or something like that. I don't know if that's worth... We can sort of just go off the honors system as well, I suppose.
I like the visual... I like the visual edition. I think that would be just a nice little touch to further help. Yeah.
So we need at least 6 for a cube around it.
Yeah, just some loose, loose guidelines just to give you a sort of an idea, rather than just looking at the distance to the beacons.
Yeah. Especially when you need your HUD off to see through the beacon stuff. Yeah,
that's a good point.
So you don't know how far away you are. Okay. And this is another one of his suggestions, is to have... well, we were talking about having stuff on the asteroids as well. Were we also going to have, like the Hunger Games style, I forget the name of it, but just a collection of stuff in the middle, like not on an asteroid?
Yeah, like that was the whole honeypot idea, or we're just...
Because his idea was to have a neutral base in the middle with turrets set to target both teams. So there would presumably be a lot in that base, but it would be hard to get at.
I see. So you have to kind of like try and get through the turrets to get to the goods.
Turrets are surprisingly difficult. You might lose quite a bit trying to get to it, but I suppose that is the trade-off. It's just, I'm wondering if we're adding a little too much to do in those 2 hours.
That's a good point too, yeah.
I think that was also another problem leading towards building larger ships. I just don't think, even if given the resources, I think that just the actual building phase of things might take a little bit too long. So I think the game would end up sticking to smaller ships rather than making improvised cannons and things like that. That would probably have to be left for if there ever was a creative version of Roid Grab. Roid Grab, sorry.
Yeah, that's a good point, because I know on our side, we didn't actually start running out of resources very quickly, because we grinded down 2 out of those 3 ships, and we had a lot of stuff at our disposal to just build, right? But just the process of building still took a while.
Yeah. And one of the other suggestions from Steve Pittman was the beacons. Could be a small beacon or a large beacon, like a ship, I mean, and you fly it in and attach it to an asteroid. Do you prefer that or having to go in and build it?
I have my opinion, but Zach, go first.
I don't like the idea of a portable beacon, just because I think it would be too easy for you to back out and fly back to your safe zone, and then, I mean, you've still got your beacon, you don't lose any resources. I mean, the enemy may take the asteroid, but, you know, you don't lose a whole great deal from it. I do, however, like the idea of being able to use a small beacon instead of a large one, because it did take us a little bit to actually get the resources up and across to the beacon to make it, because I think, from memory, the actual resources are quite inventory heavy. So I do like that.
You need a ship to carry it, or 3 people.
Yeah. Yeah,
Although
carrying
we
it
could
as
make
one
the
person
inventory
back and
size
forth.
larger. That's no problem. Like, I could make the inventory size in servers. It's not the when you're playing just normal single player, you only get a choice of like 2 times, 5 times, 10 times. In servers, you can make it however large you want.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's another thing, was the grinding, welding, inventory size, speed, all that sort of stuff, right?
Yeah, that seemed just fine. I was happy with it.
Yeah, like the actual like grinding and building speed seemed to be good. Like a lot of people actually commented that it was really fast and they were not expecting it. Yeah, and I think that was good. I like that. I also agree with
we want
Zach.
to keep it moving.
Yeah, with the I don't think that we want to do portable beacons either. I like the idea of having to actually set up something physically attached to that server to that asteroid. I think it adds a bit more of a challenge, and it also means that you need to defend it, right?
Yeah.
You can't just bail.
We can have a... So do you want a small beacon, but it has to be sort of just that? You can't go adding thrusters or anything onto it to move it. It's got to be attached to the asteroid itself via landing gear.
Yeah, I mean, you could put a station block down and then add a landing gear and then just have the beacon and a reactor on that landing gear. I think that would be suitable.
Okay. And then the same requirements. What I sort of went off with the whether or not it was sort of attached to the asteroid or not was to say the mesh of the block had to either be touching the asteroid or within the bounds of the asteroid. So if you drilled away a little bit, then you could put it where that spot was, sort of thing. Like what we did, we drilled a cave and then put it inside the cave. So it wasn't actually touching the asteroid, but it was within the bounds of it.
Yep. And that's what saved you guys, I think. That was a good strategy. But yeah, I think that makes sense. I think it needs to be physically on or in the asteroid.
Okay. What else have we got? I'll just write down small beacons so I don't forget that. And finally, the last comment here, I did skip a couple, so sorry if I missed you, but they were the same suggestions. Thomas Kitchenson, his first suggestion was more time to play. I think we covered that. We're happy with the 2 hours.
Just need to speed it up.
Yeah. So try and get more into those 2 hours, so we don't have entire episodes of me staring at a block.
I can agree with that.
He says to add an exclusion zone of 500 meters out, so that we have to guess a bit more about what the other team's doing. Do you think that like the 300 meters was all right in game, but then when you render it for a YouTube video, you do lose some of the resolution? So when I watched it back, the things that I was seeing, especially if you're not watching it in full HD, the things that I was seeing weren't exactly what I saw in game, because it was lost a little bit of the quality.
Right.
So I don't want to go too far out, otherwise there won't be any scouting, spying at all, at least from the viewer's perspective.
Especially if you go inside. Like, I mean, we stayed on top of the asteroid, so we made it easy for you guys. But if you're inside the rock, like you guys did, being 500 out, you probably wouldn't be able to see anything.
I think if we're going to make the base asteroid, less useful with less materials, I probably wouldn't make it the largest asteroid in the game.
Yep, that's a good point.
I'd make it a bit smaller, unless you want that tunnel. Do you want the tunnel or the honeycomb, sort of lots of caves through there? Or just stay perched on it? Because I think we actually lost a lot of time doing that. I think it was a good move by you to stay up on top.
Yeah.
Because we didn't lose anything from it.
Right, because we never got to attack it anyway. Yeah,
if it does move a bit more quickly, well, hopefully if it does move more quickly, we get more changing of hands of the beacon, like the asteroids, rather than someone rushes and gets them all. So we probably shouldn't have a situation where someone attacks the other base.
Yeah, like that was supposed to be like an end game thing anyway, right? That you managed somehow to grab them all, and then and then your prize was to go try and attack the base. So the original idea was that this would be a rare event anyway, but
yeah.
Just on that, on the note of how big the home asteroid should be, I think it should be small, just to encourage that whole idea of leaving your base. The honeycomb idea was good, but I think just like you said, it kind of consumed a little bit too much time moving everything down. I mean, in the end, we didn't really need it. I mean, it gave us a little bit of security. Like, I don't think you guys knew too much what we were doing, maneuvers.
No, I mean we had our one spy who went out looking, but yeah, not only did we not really know what you guys were doing, we really didn't care all that much. Really, like the only thing we cared about it was we wanted to make sure that we knew if you went for an asteroid. Right, like as far as what you were doing on your main asteroid, we weren't too concerned about it until we saw you going for an asteroid, and at that point it was okay, let's mobilize or whatever, right? But I think and with the new rules we're talking about, I think we would just encourage that kind of thinking even more, right? That the home base is literally just that; it's a place to regroup really quickly and then get back out there. And yeah,
no, definitely. I think that's spot on. So.
Another of Kitchenson's suggestion was to have a Gatling turret with that 5 or 300 meters. I think we're going to leave it at 300 meters at exclusion zone. Is to have a Gatling turret set to 300 meters to enforce it. Do you think that's necessary? And you're not allowed to edit the range, and presumably it would have to be stocked beforehand, and you wouldn't be allowed to touch the ammunition.
Right.
Should we go to that bother?
Well, so it seems like that we're replacing a what's the words I'm looking for? Like honor system rule with another honor system rule, right? Like you're not allowed to go within a certain range. We're replacing with you can't take any ammo from the gun.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you're gaining there, and it's a lot of work.
Yep. Okay, so we'll leave that then. By the way, there are ideas that we're just shrugging off here. That's all. Like, most of the people that have added comments have added a lot of comments, and a lot of them are the same. Most of them ones that we like and we've added in. Like with Kitchenson, we just shrugged off 2 of his ideas, but he has got another half dozen of them there that I'm not going to go over because we already have, but just to let people know that we're not just rubbishing everyone's ideas.
Right, and I want to, I guess, make sure that people understand too that I'm not, or any of us aren't just saying no to things. That I think that everybody has, like, all these are really great ideas, and it's just trying to. We can't add everything, or else it'll be a crazy amount of rules to explain in the beginning, or a lot of maybe modding that we need to try and do. So we do want to try and keep it simple as well.
Just piece together the bits that work.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else comment-wise. Is there anything else that you can think of, like yourselves?
I think we've covered most of it. I mean, this was like what I was thinking of, bringing up was pretty much brought up in most of the questions. I mean, some stuff I didn't even to be, hear about actually came up as well. So, I think I'm pretty happy with how it is so far. Anubis, can you think of anything else?
Yeah, I kind of agree with you on that. The comments that we got on this they probably covered almost everything that we talked about just between us, right? Anyway, so
Yep.
yeah, it was like really good feedback. I can't think of anything off the top of my head right now that hasn't already been covered.
I mean, we were having a good quick chat. I mean, the other night, and we covered a couple of the topics here.
Right, but they were the
So
same
I
ones.
think,
Yeah.
Okay, so just to sum up and make sure I haven't missed anything. So we're going to, if you place a base on a beacon on an asteroid, if you place a beacon on the asteroid, you get freebies. We're going to try and encourage more scavenging by leaving stuff everywhere. Like half that's going to be a bit difficult to try and judge the balance.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be hard to judge that balance if a non-player has to do all that. So I think that's one of the things we're going to have to try and work out after this, is to how to get a non-player to build all of it.
Yeah. Just
for
wondering, is that something that could be modded too, where like maybe you just have like set spots, but what shows up in those spots is randomly picked?
I don't think, like, what I was thinking was to make things look a little bit more aesthetically pleasing by sort of building a little bit of a base on an asteroid that was half destroyed.
Right.
And you would have to walk through it to find the cargo containers that had stuff in it and that sort of thing.
That sounds fun, actually.
Yeah. Quite a lot more work. And again, it would have to be a non-player.
Yeah.
Like, I would be happy doing that. I guess if we hold another one at a bad time for us here, then I could build it and not play in that. But I do kind of want to play one where I'm not delusional. The other thing was to keep the base exclusions, to have better team names, allow small beacons, but they can't be portable. I'm assuming that stays the same with merge blocks as well, so you can't have a beacon on a merge block and then fly a ship in and then just drop it off.
Right, yeah.
But you have to actually build it there.
The rule is that if you put a beacon on an asteroid, it has to stay there. You can't get rid of it unless you grind it down.
Yeah.
Or destroy it, like with explosives or something.
Yep. And we have the starting ships. So far, the only ones we've got is one drilling ship, which is the default from the Easy Start world, and a lightweight scout ship, which we'll make. It'll just be something very basic. Anything else that we should start with?
I don't know. I think that might be, like, I mean, there's the obvious other considerations are the grinder and a welder, but starting with a grinder and a welding ship, or a grinder welding ship, might be a bit too much, and it's probably pretty easy to retrofit one of the other two to also have
that drilling
those
ship.
things.
You could just break off the drills and
right, or even just build a grinder and a welder on the other side of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that might be enough, right? Like, it's a good start to get you your resources quicker, and it also gives you a platform to build more on top of really fast.
Yeah. And we're not going to start with the resources like so many raw ore, but then leave quite a bit out and about. So that's how you would get it, by exploring.
Right, and you also start with a mining ship, so you could run out to an asteroid really fast to try and grab stuff, because nobody starts with a fighter, and you know that.
So the base itself, that little, the basic base that I had set up, just keep that. But the platform.
Yeah. I think that's a good one to start with.
I like that start. That was good.
Okay. Well, I think we've covered everything then.
Yeah. So on top of all of that, we're still, I guess the last thing I just thought of now is, would we keep the 3 respawn ships as well, or are we removing some of that?
Let's keep them, I think.
Yeah, and they can be either ground down or
but they start basically at your base, so there's no scavenging needed for that stuff.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. That's one of the things that we can alter as well. like the number of respawn ships, but we can try that afterwards. Yeah, the main difficulty is just getting that map set up and trying to balance it fairly well.
Right. I guess the only reason I bring it up is because when you grind them down, like especially if you start with a welder, or sorry, a mining ship, if you ground all 3 of those ships down, you probably wouldn't need to run off and scavenge too much right at the beginning.
We could just reduce it to 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know what the solution is right now, but I'm just mentioning it.
Yeah.
I'm here to provide problems, not solutions. I'm just kidding, of course.
Okay, well, I think we should stop now. We've been recording for over an hour, so hopefully we can squish this down into something a bit more watchable.
Yes, I agree.
Thank you for inviting us around to your apartment. I'm
Yes,
going to get up now and...
stretch my legs.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go out the back door, because that's closer to my apartment.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Oh, there's a lot of lag. Oh no, I'm getting pushed. I thought that was lagging, but someone was just pushing me. So I can't get out the back door?
Well, if I press the button, you can. Here you go.
Thank you. Well, thank you for inviting us around, and thank you everyone for watching.
Yep, and we'll see you all next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.